Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave.
Jake.
Say that again. Something happened to the audio.
Can you not hear me now?
I can hear you. It's just that when you said it was like, it was like you were talking through
weird.
water.
No, that's not good.
Nah, it's working now. It's all good.
I'm still Jake.
You're still Jake? Fantastic.
Correct.
It still says Jake in the corner of the screen.
Nice.
I'm super excited that we're twinsies.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that, so that's kind of good news.
I'm glad neither of us sent a memo.
Nope, no memos. That's not what we do.
Yep, all good.
Yeah. Well, when did you vote today?
Yeah, this morning.
Yeah, same. I did before I went to work.
7:20. Julie and I.
Oh no, you got me beat. I think I voted at like. I think right at noon.
Okay. Yeah. Before we went to work, that's two different things for you and me. Two different times.
Yeah.
Sure. Jeff's in. Hi, Jeff. How you doing? Hope you voted today or earlier.
Absolutely.
But yes, we are here. Hooray! It's Tuesday.
Almost halfway through the week. Almost.
Tomorrow, hump day. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so tired already. Like,
me too. It's crazy, but yeah. Today, my daughters had off. Oh, Jeff voted this morning. Good job. Yeah, my daughters had off school because it's election day, and a lot of schools across the city are used as polling places. So rather than just...
Sorry. I'm exhausted. No, that makes sense, because now that I think about it, see, I assumed I voted at the local high school.
Right.
And because we just moved, I've never voted there before.
Yep.
So I was like, where do I go? And my wife's like, oh, it's right up the street. So it's like a minute drive.
Right.
But I like walked in, and I've never been in that high school. Like, I've never had to do anything there. So I was like, where am I going? But I didn't even think of that. I was like, oh, they'll just time it so that the kids are down the other end of the school or something. But I guess that makes sense. It makes a lot more sense that they just don't have school today.
They'll tilt the school and just everybody tumbles down.
Keep all the kids at one end.
That'd be fantastic. Okay. Oh, Scott says you bozos change times. Fun fact: Saskatchewan never changes our clocks. Not for you, not for anyone.
Nice.
There's apparently there's discussion that we'll never change our clocks ever again, too. So
I'd be fine with that.
that could be interesting. I'm totally down with. I love daylight savings.
The problem is
don't
they
know
should
about
just leave it. They should just leave it where it is.
Like now.
Like okay, so it's irrelevant. Like it doesn't. I don't care which one. The whole reason why daylight savings exists was to give farmers theoretically another hour of daylight. But farmers get up at dawn, not at a time.
It was so that farmers' kids could still go to school and then come home and be productive. After
I guess it's just dumb. It is just dumb.
Yeah, no, I think it's fine. I don't mind it at all. I do like having extra time. And until we get to a point where like times and schedules don't matter anymore.
The only thing I don't like is now when I get home from work now, it's dark.
Sure. So if we don't change the time, like if we don't change it ever again, it's always going to be it's going to be dark. Like in November, it's going to be dark when you get home.
So back it up and just leave it there.
Okay.
Like I don't care which one they pick. Just leave it there. Like.
Yeah. I think it's fine. Scott says I'm always an hour late and an hour early once a year for things like this. At least it wasn't on a Sunday when I'm waiting an extra hour for football to start.
Scott, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
No, all good. I completely forgot that it had happened.
I did not, because I got up and I was like, man, I slept super late today. And my wife's like, you didn't. The clock's moved. And I was like, oh, right.
Yeah. No, I never sleep through the night anyway. So I'm just too old now. Old man.
See, I go to bed super late. I go to bed super late,
Yeah.
and then my dog jumps on me and wakes me up when she wants to go out in the morning. So my clock is pretty regular.
Right. Yeah. Nice. That's good. Mine isn't. It's all over the place. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't worry me. But anyway, I do always chuckle every year though, when you see the same people like complaining like, "Oh, it's gonna happen again." Yes, of course it's gonna happen again. You know what's coming.
I don't like, theoretically. I understand the idea. I just think it's dumb. Like the amount of people that it affects is such a minute amount. It's just useless.
No, I love the the other thing as well is obviously you're further north than I am. So,
Yeah.
So in summer, your evenings are longer.
Yep.
Scott's even further north. So same thing.
And he's out west too. He's in Saskatchewan, so he's got to be. Scott, what are you like 2 time zones behind us? I think.
So is it currently 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or 4 p.m.? Who knows anymore? Eric, the dogs don't understand time change. They do not.
That's true.
Not. But yeah, we can just ignore the cats. Our cats. That's what we do. I don't know time zones.
That's not what I think. That's backwards to what I think.
Right.
All right, so he's an hour behind
Central
us.
time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's fine. Can't speak that I wake up at 5:08. So his coordinators feed me morning attacks with the alarm.
Nice.
Awful. Yeah. That's terrible. Anyway, now that we've talked about the time.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
No worries. We've got the baseline. We've got the initial talk about the thing that everybody encounters. Now we can move on to the next stuff. What have you been up to? Have you got any hobby this week? Have you done any painting?
Yeah, a little. I was telling you before we jumped on the stream.
Yep.
So I brought home some stuff. I brought home a figure case with the commission I'm working on, and a box full of like a ton of different paints.
Right.
And like all my brushes and stuff. I gotta work on all this stuff and get this stuff knocked out. Oh, I will show you this. I think you have one of these.
Maybe. Oh.
Do you have this little brush bag?
I don't.
Really? Oh, I thought for sure you'd have one of these.
No, where's that from?
It's I don't remember. I think I got it. I think I got it when I worked for the company. I think I got it because I was in the bunker.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. It's got like,
Okay.
all your brushes they all zip up in it. I usually have it, chock full of other stuff that I keep in here.
Yep.
This is one of my favorite things in the world. Where is it? This one? No, it's not that one. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. This is my secret weapon.
Oh.
This is a micron pen.
Yep.
And they are awesome. And this is the .0.005.
Right.
So it's like a single eyelash.
Right.
But I use this. I love doing like little tiny detail bits. Like I'll do like checks on stuff or like hashtags, or I'll mark up faces.
Yep.
A big one is I'll do teeth patterns on my beak helmets.
Okay.
It's super fun.
Cool. These nice. Oh, it's because our province hovers over the state of North Dakota like a big people hat. Quite majestic.
Yeah. North Dakota should just be one Dakota.
Right. Yep.
There are such a minuscule amount of people that live in the Dakotas. It's insane.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. Because I was listening to an interview with a painter named Will Hahn. Super talented dude. He's in Baltimore area, and he mentioned Nova Open. You guys know him? Well,
I don't, but Dave probably does.
I do. Yeah. Yep. Will is local to me. I couldn't tell you exactly where in Baltimore he is, but his family owns a seafood distribution company.
Nice.
But Will is super talented. I think, Scott, you're probably listening to that on or watching that on Cult of Paint, and it's a very, very good interview. Will's the kind of guy that when he gets into something, he gets totally into something. And just listening to him talk about painting and choices and that sort of thing that he's making during his painting is just amazing. Absolutely fantastic. So check it out. Cult of Paint YouTube channel. Will Hahn is the dude. He is currently in Italy, as are a lot of other miniature painters. They're all going to Monte San Savino this coming weekend, which is a huge, when I say huge, it's very incredibly prestigious miniature painting competition.
Okay.
So Monte San Savino is a small town in Tuscany, sort of southeast of Florence. Or Firenze.
I bet I could talk my wife into going to that. We love Italy. She loves Tuscany.
Yeah. Yep. So it's like first or second weekend in November every year. But
David, speaking of exclusive painting contests, I got to show you this. I thought you'd appreciate this one.
Oh my goodness, Games Day 2004. Very cool.
It's got Cavalry on it. That's why I wore it.
It does have Cavalry on it. Nice. Thanks for flashing us. That's sweet. Sweet. But yeah. Josh says Luca was recently as well. Yep, the Luca Comics Convention.
Okay.
Which has it's grown as well, and it's becoming there's a lot of games are involved there. Games, art, comics.
All stuff I like.
Yeah, I know that Carl Kopinski goes there every year. Adrian Smith was heading there this year. I think Adrian Smith was going as part of the Simon crew.
Does Carl's brother go?
I don't think so.
They're both great. They're both fantastic
Stefan?
artists. Yeah.
Yep. I don't think so. No. But definitely cool. So it says, you bet. I found it waiting for you guys to start trying to figure out if there was a show. I bet you've seen The Wire. I've seen The Wire. What are you talking about? It's people surviving those streets. A bunch of it was filmed like 2 or 3 blocks from my place. So
nice.
Yeah.
Dave's an extra in parts of it.
Oh no, that was all filmed before I arrived.
Tell me that.
I can pretend, yes. But no, definitely cool. I think Monty Sansovino, we might, maybe we'll see some photos over the weekend and show them next week. Some of the winners.
Okay.
Which I think would be pretty cool.
We can totally do that.
But yeah, it's an awesome show. Yeah, Will was also one of the judges for the Journeyman category at Nova Open, which was super cool. Excellent person to chat to. But anyway, maybe next season we'll have him on as a guest.
Okay. Yeah, we can do a bunch of guests.
Yep, that'd be cool. I think we should. It'd be neat. Actually, yeah. Well, while we're mentioning it, it's something that Jake and I have been chatting about. We haven't finalized everything. We're still pulling it all together. But I think what have we got? So today is episode 17. Cavalry.
Yeah, I think so.
Next week is episode 18. We're going to talk about camouflage. Episode 19 is Thanksgiving. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Then the week after that, we haven't worked out exactly what we're going to do for that one. That'll be episode 20.
Yeah.
Then I think we're going to take a break for a week. We're going to come back with a holiday special.
Yep.
And then we'll take a break until the new year, and we'll come back with season 2. Season 2.
Correct.
And
I think the only thing we haven't figured out is I don't know if we figured out if we're coming back on the 3rd or the 10th.
I'm going to say let's do the 10th because I am in Australia for the last 2 weeks of this year.
Right. Okay.
And I do not want to have to think about come back on the 1st and go, ah!
Right.
What are we doing? So it should be good.
Yeah. So we have next week the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th, the 6th off.
Right.
The 13th will be the holiday episode, and then we'll be off for the 20th, the 27th, and the 3rd, and then we come back for season 2 on the 10th.
Yes.
Okay, that works out.
Something like that. It'll be all good. Speaking of shows and different things, Scott is asking if anyone is doing LVO, the Las Vegas Open.
So I normally do. This year I don't think I'm doing LVO. It's too, with all the other shows that we're adding, and with Dave and I now making plans to go out to San Diego Comic-Con, like I don't think that I can do.
Just throwing that out there, willy nilly.
Well, we talked about it. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. We mentioned that we got asked.
I didn't think we talked about it on the show.
Oh, I thought we did. But like, yeah. So like I have a bunch of shows. I usually do between like 7 and 12 shows every year.
Right.
And I've been trying to cut back. It's just too much. So I think this year I'm gonna end up doing 6, I think, or 7.
Okay.
So I don't think I'll be doing LVO this year. I mean, stuff could change. I don't know. Like, who knows? Maybe somebody will be like, hey, like, we're gonna fly you out to do whatever. But as of right now, yeah, I don't think I'm doing LVO.
Okay, that's cool.
Are you?
I think I'm not going to do LVO because it's always on the same weekend as my wife's birthday.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
So I won't be doing that. But Scott will be there, and he'll be learning from Matt Sexwish. Checkswish.
I think it's Keckswish.
Man?
I think it's Keckswish.
Keckswish? It's not Sexwish? You going with the
Sexwish,
hard C, not the soft C?
That's pretty metal if it's Sexwish.
He is super metal. But yeah, that'll be awesome. I think you'll have an excellent time there, Scott, working on that. It'll be very neat. Very neat. I was at Fall In just quickly on Saturday. I went and visited Fall In, the historical convention in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And had some fun. Caught up with some folks. Chatted with Joey from World's End Publishing, Joey Maguire, and This Is Not a Test. Dropped off some minis for him, the Traveler Scouts. We're going to do a photo shoot in the next month, sometime in the next month. So we can
I saw John Russell posting about it.
get that going. Pun?
I saw John Russell posting about it.
Posting about Fall In? I didn't see John at all.
Really? I thought he was there.
Maybe he
Oh,
was.
maybe his guys were there.
I think some of his guys were there. He might have been in one of the gaming rooms that I didn't go into. So there's a lot of different rooms and bits and pieces going on. Oh, there we go. Scott says it is Sex Wish. As in Vegas last week, lost so much money. I was in the in my local store, games and stuff today. Lost so much money. But yeah, so it was cool. But one thing I didn't bring down, it's up on the dining room table just upstairs, is something that Kate put together for us. So Kate Warrington, a friend of the show, who got me the lovely God Hand clippers. She runs Marauder Industries. We mentioned him a couple of weeks ago. She laser cut us some project trays.
Nice.
So, you know, the tray. So you've got the tray, you've got the handles, you've got the thing across the top that has the...
Yeah.
We can put the bottles of paint in them. There's a spot for like a Dixie cup or a solo cup with water and paintbrushes and glue and that sort of thing.
That's awesome, man.
And then on the center of it, she took the Build, Paint, Play logo and etched it in. So
you'll have to send me some pictures of it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll send you some pictures. And so she got one, cut one for me and one for you.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. That's awesome.
So I will bring that along to PAX Unplugged.
Okay, yeah.
Just because shipping something that big and flat is super annoying.
We should. I know that Rick wants to do that painting class, and hopefully you can jump in with us.
Yep, on the Sunday.
Yeah, so we'll do some cool painting stuff. If people from the show are going to be there, that'd be kind of fun.
Yep, that'd be great. Great. If anybody's at PAX Unplugged, but I think that's what I'm planning. I'll probably just go up on the Sunday. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be there. I think I'm going to be there the whole time. I think I'm going to go up on. I might just go for the weekend. I think I'm going to wait and see, but I'll definitely be there for Sunday. So.
Right. Cool. Awesome. No, that'd be good. Definitely cool. I hobby-wise, I've been painting some stuff for a commission. So,
Stones.
Sisters of Silence. There's like 5 of those. There are 2 of the Galatus.
Dude, is that the Telemon?
No, it's not the Telemon. Telemon's the big one with the missile rack across the top. And the big fist. This is like the Galatus or the... I'm pretty sure it's the Galatus. But
the Telemon's the coolest one.
It is. But I so 2 of those, and then next up are 6 of these guys.
These things are amazing.
They are cool. So, but that's see the black. I'm gonna have black paneling on them so that gold eagle stands out even more.
Dude, I love the perturges on the boots.
Yeah. Yep. Nifty.
They're so that's such like the Judge Dredd jet bike.
It is.
I love awesome.
It. Yep, definitely cool. Hey, Chris.
Chris just jumped on. What's up, Chris?
Thanks for joining us. But yeah, so I'm painting those. I'm painting up some more lizard dudes.
Who doesn't like snake people?
Yep, snake people rock. There's one that's well underway.
Are those the ones from Steamforged?
Yep.
That box is so good.
It is. Is it like lair of the snake people or something like that?
I think so, yeah. And then there's did you get the big Conan snake?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I've already painted that one up. Have you painted that yet?
I've seen it. I haven't painted it, but I've seen that one. I've painted some of the goblins, some of the orcs, and the red dragon, but I haven't done the serpent people.
Yeah, that serpent one. If you look down in the center of it, there's a like a fedora hat, and there's a golden idol. It's super indie. It's great.
Snakes.
Yeah. But so yeah, I've been working on that. As I said, I went to Games and Stuff today and got some.
Oh, dude, they're so good. Okay, right on. Oh, dude, the Herkimer Battle Jitney thing is so good.
Yep, I think I love this design better than the actual Hokama Battle Jitney.
Oh yeah,
But,
I mean it's super cool. It's very industrial looking.
yeah, it's spectacular. I love it. So I've got all those now. I now have to assemble and start priming and.
Scott, that's not the God tier stuff. It's the same guys, but it's the stuff for the D&D adventures, the epic encounters.
Yep. So these are they are PVC, but and the weapons can be a little bit flexy.
They're done really well.
But yeah, they are good. But like the arms are everything's pretty sturdy. Just some of the thinner stuff. Look at some of the others over here.
You see the new box? The yeah, dude, they're awesome. The snake people are so good. Did you see the new box that's coming out? So it's the crab people and the dragon sea turtle.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I know what's coming next. The box after that, it's going to be human bandits and a chimera.
Oh, okay. Radio.
That's the next box, yeah.
Human Bandits should be interesting. See what Steamforge, what sort of stylings they do with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the big one is like the whole point of those boxes. If we're running a D&D game, it's like you want like Gribblies. So it's like, oh, we need orcs, or I need goblins, or we need kobolds, and it's like I need bandits. I need human bandits, and it's like, oh, that'd be cool. So I think that's really smart of them to make a box that's like more just bandits to throw at somebody.
Yeah, definitely. And that big turtle, I'm excited to get one of those for. This is not a test.
Dude, it's amazing. The sea turtle,
land turtle.
Awesome.
Yep.
It is awesome looking.
That should be neat. Excellent. Scott says PVC can take a hike. That's cool, Scott. You do you.
I'd rather work with PVC than metal.
Chris says, getting some Star Wars commissions painted up before I have to go to work the day job. Cool. Oh, Scott says I'm painting Mexican bandits right now. Excellent. I think they'll end up being slightly different. No doubt.
Probably.
But anyway. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Haven't had any games recently, unfortunately. And of course the other thing that's been keeping me awake is the wonderful, tremendous Tome.
Yeah, dude, you guys are killing it. I'm gonna with the store. Alpha Mega is gonna back you guys tonight. I know you, because I know you still have a couple of days left. So,
well, yep, we're just under 48 hours.
Yeah, I like to be fashionably late. So,
so I'm just gonna slide this over. There we go.
Yeah,
48 hours to go.
I backed one thing with a friend of mine, and I was trying to be the last person to back it.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm like, when does it close? He's like, Thursday. I was like, when on Thursday? He's like, 6 o'clock. So at like 5:30, I logged in and had all my information like ready to go, and I just kept refreshing the screen.
Right.
Just like waiting, and I was like, because like it does a little bloop when more people add bloop, and I was like, okay, I'm waiting, and then at like 5:59, I backed it.
Yep.
And I saw it go through, and I was like, yes. And then somebody else backed it out to me. I was like, I'm so mad. And I was like, I thought I got it.
Oh my goodness. No, it's one of those things where it's like, as you're going through, you get it like throughout the campaign, you get to the point where you've got a lot of people and they're backed for a certain amounts of money, and then you get to find the average, so the average pledge. So you can go, okay, well, if I need to get to the next stretch goal, how many more backers do I need? Because by that point, you'll end up with the average pledge sort of going through. But yesterday, when I sent you that message, we'd had probably 17 or 18 people back for $1. So we're starting to drop that average.
So you needed me to pull up the average
to boost the average, but you didn't. Right. You were like, I want to do it last.
I'll do it tonight. As soon as we get done with the call, I'll do it.
But it's one of those things that gets us closer to that next stretch goal, which is unlocking 8 more pages and an adventure by Luke Gygax.
Right on.
So yeah, it's crazy. I think did I mention the Luke Gygax adventure yesterday? No, last week. Sorry.
Yeah, you talked about last time. Like he was going to write a kind of a one-shot thing that's going to be in the book, and
yeah. So it's working with something that he's already written, but yeah, it was super cool to talk to him last week and have that chat was neat.
I really like twice. He seems like a super nice guy.
Yeah, yeah, he is very definitely. So yeah, excited about that, and we added a couple new contributors, including Jason Acevedo from Realmsmith.
I know him. I know that guy.
Yes, you do. So yeah, definitely good. We've got loads and loads and loads of really good stuff. So I'm very excited by it all. I have to find another word that isn't excited, because I keep saying excited all the time.
Stoked.
Stoked.
Yeah.
Do I look like I'm?
Yeah.
Do I look like I'm from like Southern California in the '90s? Pardon? What happened to your? Something's happened to your.
I don't. Did it? What happened to my audio?
I don't know. Maybe it's just certain sounds that you make.
It's like talking.
Yeah, like that one.
You could be hyped. You could be amped.
Yeah, this is true. We're amped.
Thrilled.
Oh well, obviously thrilled. But yes, so that's happening. Everybody knows that. So next up, just our regular weekly reminder. Head on over to, we'll follow the link in the notes below to Reaper and pick up your copy of the Cathy Wappel tribute miniature. All proceeds go to help Cathy and Jim. So definitely cool. Scott and Josh are chatting in the chat. Metal Mexican Bandit, so cool. Way better than PVC anything. You guys need to start talking about hockey again soon.
I can paint anything. I don't really care.
Yeah.
The whole reason I don't mind the newer PVC stuff is like the companies have gotten so much better about putting detail in them.
Right.
I think a lot of people got really turned off by it when they backed like board games like 5, 8, 10 years ago on Kickstarter. Even the Gen 1 Zombicide stuff, it's fine. Like, they're not great, but it's fine. All the newer stuff, like all the new Zombicide stuff, all the new Marvel heroes, all the Steamforged stuff, the PVC kits are so good. I mean, like the Snake People you're working on, like they're incredible.
Yep.
Like once that's painted, you're not going to know what it is.
No, for sure. For sure.
But
yes. And Scott and Josh mentioning Knuckle Duster. So great Wild West minis. Forrest Harris does these out of Illinois. But yeah, fantastic range. Great game. Definitely check it out. So yeah, just do a search for Knuckle Duster Wild West minis, I guess.
Hey Scott, what's the name of the studio that does all the weird the weird minis that you painted last time? Like it has like the guy with the wings and like the crazy the mask and stuff.
What?
That's the goblin that I sent you riding the pug. It's by the same people.
Oh, okay. I've got no idea.
But he'll know what it is. I just can't remember. We looked at him a couple weeks ago. They had like the crazy guy.
Yep. Scott says, I wish Stephen and others would do their packs of their greatest hits in resin. It would be nice. Moonstone, there we go.
Yeah, so the pug the goblin riding the pug I sent you, that's from Moonstone.
Yep. We've got it in here, and amazingly enough, Ben Williams also sent a photo, or put a photo in the comments, that has that same goblin on the pug. Just painted differently.
That's awesome.
Excellent stuff. Okay, so should we get into talking about Cavalry?
Yeah, sure.
Cavalry? What's that all about?
Here, I'll I gotta change my screen. Yeah, see, Chris gets it, Moonstone.
Yep.
These are Lord of the Rings, right?
Well, these particular ones are Lord of the Rings, but I'm just going to up there as like a placeholder for us to talk about Cavalry before we jump in and have a look at all the Cavalry photos.
Cavalry riding goats is amazing.
Right.
And I was like, dwarf cavalry riding mountain goats, I'm pretty sure is Lord of the Rings, so.
Yeah. Yep. It's super Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Very much so. But, yes, I mentioned in the notes that we're going to be talking about the historical uses of cavalry through the ages. So, Should we start there?
Sure, we can.
Yeah. Which age do you want to use? Do you want to start with?
We can go back pretty far. So my favorite thing is having to explain to people the difference between mounted infantry
Right.
and cavalry.
Okay.
And then I was like, what do you mean? Like, one of the favorite ones is Wolf's Dragoons. And they're like, oh, Dragoons, that's cavalry. I was like, it's not. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, cavalry is fighting from horseback.
Right.
If you are not fighting from horseback, you are not cavalry. You are just riding a horse.
Riding a horse to the battle.
Yep. Like, I was like, the reason why dragoons are dragoons is their armor is heavy, and they are not fast on foot. So they mount them up, and then they ride to wherever they need to get, and then they get off the horses, and then they fight on foot.
Some of them do. There are also dragoons that fight from horseback.
Now there are, but the original term is
Right.
mounted infantry.
Well, no, I mean, like, I'm talking about, like, Napoleonic wars, but I was thinking...
Right,
yeah.
they started using that name, like hussars. Hussars is typically cav.
Right.
Like, my personal favorite is the winged hussars, the Polish-Lithuanian winged hussars.
Right.
The most dangerous unit.
Yep. But I think, so if we go even further back to, like,
Well, like
sort of-
Roman times.
I was going to say, probably pre-Roman as well, into your, it's like classical ancients.
Sure.
You had, I think a lot of the earliest types of cavalry you can find would be light cavalry and skirmishing
Yep.
cavalry. So where the idea was that that people would fight from horseback, or they would remain on horseback. So they're either they're typically fairly lightly armed, and because they didn't I think when it's pre-stirrups.
Oh, it's way before stirrups.
Yeah.
The stirrups is what modernized and made like true cavalry possible.
Right, like heavy cavalry possible. Yeah, but at those times they were used as harassing forces.
Mhm.
So harass the flanks of an army. So
For me, there's always that weird. There's that weird like hybrid unit too, like chariots.
right,
You're like, is it cavalry? I mean, kind of. It's not really cavalry. It's like towed artillery is what it is. Basically.
well, I think that's the thing. Well, so let's talk about. We've got light cavalry.
Yep.
Harassing forces, so they go around the flanks.
Yeah.
And-
Throw spears, shoot arrows, or
Yeah, and sort of disrupt the lines, disrupt the formations, so that when the infantry hit the enemy from the front, the enemy was disordered, and they could plow through them a lot easier. Once you got,
that's the plan.
yeah, that's always the plan. And for
My favorite example of that not working has got to be the Battle of Pharsalus, where Pompey has his legions,
right,
and Caesar has his, and Caesar collects up all of his cav, and then takes basically the back maniple of each legion and hides them behind it. So while they're riding, they stir up all this like dust and stuff,
Yep.
and his Roman legion is just following it in. So Pompey sends his auxiliaries and cavalry up, thinking, "Oh, we're gonna massacre his tiny little cavalry."
yep,
And Caesar's cavalry faints and flees, and then the basically demi-legion that's behind them obliterates all of Pompey's like
Auxiliaries.
skirmishers and cavalry.
Right.
And then they sort of like turn the tables and they hit Pompey's legions in the side, which disorders his legions. Like,
yep,
phenomenal.
nice.
That's why you never send skirmishing cavalry against heavy infantry.
Right.
That is a bad idea.
It is. But yes, so we got light cavalry, a lot of chariot use, despite what we'd probably see in in fantasy war games.
Yep.
They were more of that light. They fit into that light cavalry role, where it was like race in front of the lines, archers firing, javelins being thrown, disrupt the enemy.
Yeah.
Maybe try and draw some of them out, draw some of them to charge the chariots, and then run back to the lines rather than plowing through like things. Oh, there we go. Josh is in there. Funny that chariots were more like a tank, wheel hubs with size mounted on them. Some of them were, but not all of them.
Correct.
So, yeah, it wasn't until a little bit later, well, moving late classical, I guess, that you had your heavier chariots, but which would be more like we see in fantasy wargaming today, where it's the chariot is an impact option. The way that it works best is to charge it in, do lots of damage on the charge, and then sort of give up on it because it's going to be destroyed.
The problem with chariots has always been that the biggest liability, like the weak point of the chariot, is the horses.
Right.
Because you can't armor them because they're already pulling a ton.
Yep.
And then if you have to have multiple horses and you kill one of them, it effectively stops the chariot.
Yep.
So that's part of the reason why the chariot like never really, it kind of had its heyday, and the Egyptians probably used them the best. And then after that, like not so much. Like the Celts used them a little bit to some use of like effectiveness, but yeah, the Egyptians probably used them the best, like you said, skirmishing. They would just keep like pulling loops in front of the enemy and just like firing arrows, and they'd go back to their lines and get more arrows, then fire arrows again, and then go back and get more arrows. Like that. I mean, that's the right way to do it. It's like, well, you can't get to us because we're too far away.
Yep.
So
we're moving too fast.
Yep.
But the Celts also used chariots to deliver their warriors into battle. The heroes.
Basically, yeah. I mean, it's
bold.
It's an Uber.
It's an Uber. Yes. Race up. Somebody leaps into the crowd.
Yeah.
Race back. But so we got light cavalry. We've got chariots in both forms, light and heavy chariots.
Sure.
I've seen there are images of like 4-horse chariots with each of the horses has got the like barding and an armor, and but when you got 4 horses wide, it's really just you just become the guy at the back who's controlling that is just controlling 4 trampling horses. Is what that's all about. So, yep. As Chris says, yep. Just like modern armor, it has to be supported by infantry to succeed.
Yep. You need mixed units
to be able to plow through like that. But then heavy cavalry, which I think again waxed and waned in its popularity and success.
I think the problem with heavy cav is the fact that so in the feudal era, heavy cav is like the deciding force. Like if you have heavy cav, like you win.
Right.
But it was so expensive to maintain because the idea was that only like basically landholders, whether you're knighted or not, like only landholders had the ability to go, oh yeah, so I own 36 horses. Like these 16 are all plow horses.
Yep.
And then like these like 8 or 9 are riding horses or light riding horses. And then we have enough land that I have a destrier. And he just like lives, he's like 16 and a half hands high, and we just feed him whatever he wants. And he just goes around trying to make little horses. And then he doesn't like anybody. He tries to bite everybody but me. And then when I put armor on him, he knows it's time for it to kill people. Like, but the average person did not have the ability to do that. So cavalry is expensive.
Yep. But heavy like shock cavalry.
Yeah.
The assault cavalry, the heavy cavalry has been there was Persian heavy cavalry. There's Ottoman heavy cavalry.
Yeah.
There are quite a few examples pre-Middle Ages.
Yeah. I mean, I think I think realistically, if you look at it, I think the three probably most effective cavalry units of like historically are either the the Mongols.
Right.
So
Okay.
like now again, they're probably more like skirmishing cav or light cav.
Primarily, I think they had some heavy. They would field some heavy cav as well, but
I think they're
if needed.
probably known. They're like skirmishing
Oh, very much so.
you
Yeah.
you have like 400 guys roll in on horses and they all shoot like 6 arrows each. You're like that's a lot.
Yep.
And then they show up later on and start burning down your town. And then in the Middle Ages, I would say probably like French and British like heavy cav, like
Right.
heavy like plate armored knights and like lances and barded steeds, and you're talking between the guy, the horse, and the armor. Each one of them probably weighs close to a ton. You're talking probably like between 1,600 and 1,800 pounds
Right.
for each one. And it's like, at the Battle of York, it's like we have 400 armored knights. You're like, okay, that's 400 tons of angry horse flesh and metal coming at me. I'm not really. Yeah, I understand why people are like, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. This seems like a bad idea. This is gonna be a bad day for everybody. And then in basically from pre-Napoleonic through Napoleonic, you've got basically heavy like shock cav. And again, the winged hussars are probably the most easily recognizable. They're considered the most dangerous unit for close to 400 years. It's kind of nuts. Like they're like the pinnacle of battlefield like design. You're like, oh, there's how many? There's 500,000 troops surrounding there's Ottoman troops surrounding this town. It's cool. We brought 16,000 hussars, and you're like, yeah, that math doesn't add up. And it's like, no, they'll be fine.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Sorry, I just my youngest daughter is just upstairs in the dining room, and she was thumping on the table. I'm not sure if it came through, but
I'm trying to think. Would you consider, once you get into the modern time, would you consider stuff like the Old West, like cowboys? Would you consider them cavalry, or are they basically just like?
well, I guess the question it goes back to that question of are they fighting from horseback?
Right.
If they're fighting from horseback, cavalry.
Yeah.
If they need to get off and do that. There we go. Beating heavy cavalry is easy. Get some sticks twice as long as any man, then just stab them.
Your mom been telling stories about me, Scott.
But and there are also a lot of examples of when you talk about historical units, like the Australian Light Horse Brigade.
Yep.
From World War One.
Yeah.
Who were mounted infantry.
Yep.
So they would ride in. They would ride up. Everybody jump off. One guy gets to hold the reins of 4 horses, while his 3 mates rush up to the front line and start firing away.
Ugh.
It seems like a very tough kind of role, because you'd typically be fairly unsupported.
Yeah, I mean the whole point of mounted infantry,
Yep.
which again is technically not cav, but it falls into the same category, is it just gave you mobility.
Yeah.
Because mobility is king. Like if you can move, I mean it's like the Raven Guard, right? Speed kills. If you can get from point A to point B before anybody else knows you're there, you're gonna win that fight. So
Right.
yeah, Civil War cavalry. Yeah, Civil War cavalry basically wasn't cavalry. It was
Yeah.
they were dragoons. They were mounted infantry that were just getting moved from point A to point B. Yeah, it's super weird. Like I think if you have, it's all about the technology, right? Like the technology is literally what's either making it better or making it worse.
Right.
So it's like before the stirrup, infantry is better than cavalry. It just is. Like
Right.
it's easier to do. You got more guys. Like you can throw spears at the horse or throw spears at the guy. Then once you invent stirrups, you're like, oh, well now I don't need to hold on to the horse.
Yeah, with your hands. Yep.
Like I can use both of my hands for the bow and arrow, or for like a spear and shield, or whatever. And then as the technology gets better on the ground, then it's like, oh well, the guys on the ground will just wear better armor, and you're like, okay, that stinks.
Yep.
And if it's a prepared position, cavalry can't really do anything. If you're assaulting a castle, cavalry's not helpful.
Yeah.
And then like you being used for like scout recon, like I mean, being mobile is definitely like helpful. And then even when they invent like firearms, that's what the first dragoon troops are. They're carrying shorter like carbine style cut downs so that they can carry them with them, and then you ride from point A to point B, and then you get off the horse and you shoot stuff.
Right.
Because trying to shoot a rifle from horseback is extremely difficult.
Yep. As long as if it's moving across, yeah, it'll be tough. But the one of the I guess periods of that rock paper scissors kind of thing that I find really interesting is always the Napoleonic Wars and the doctrines at the time or the approaches at the time. So you have cavalry, you have lancers, you have cavalry with swords like sabers, because your infantry isn't wearing armor. And you've got them. You can mount them on heavy horses, big horses. Maybe your cavalry has breastplates and metal helmets rather than sort of woolen shakos.
Right.
But if one of your heavy cavalry units catches an infantry unit in line or column or any formation other than a square, where they're prepared with a bristling wall of bayonets,
it is over because you'll just punch through.
You punch through, you'll knock people down. But I guess it's also depends on the timing. But we're talking command and control sort of aspects there as well, where cavalry unit might punch through your battalion, but you don't kill a lot of them. It's just terrifying to have like 50 horsemen thundering down on you.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
like
there's definitely
yelling and swinging like razor sharp sabers to slash you apart.
Yeah, they're not just riding by you. They're trying to kill you.
They're not just approaching and going, "Hey, I'm a horse."
There's definitely a psychological aspect to cavalry, and I think that a lot of military commanders, like once you get to that time frame and onward, like there is a huge psychological component to being like on the receiving end of a cavalry charge.
Right. Yep.
Like it is like, even to Scott's point, like the scene in Braveheart, like the whole reason why it works is they have to not move.
Right.
And trying to not move while the ground is vibrating underneath you, and there's a wall of angry horses charging at you that can't see you.
Yep.
Like there's any number of ways to die from a cavalry charge. It's like, oh, I got crushed by a horse hoof, or I got cut with a saber, or I got clipped by the horses that ran by. Like it's all bad. Like it's all bad. So
it is.
So like I understand that even if you don't kill a lot of guys, you charge through there, you're like, I'm not going back there. I'm not doing that again.
Right.
Like having to have the nerve to like withstand multiple cavalry charges. It's just like that's a lot to ask from what is essentially some guy who was a farmer who I gave a flintlock to.
Yep.
Or even back then, it's probably like a firelock. So you're like, here, hold on to this, and then shoot that guy. And you're like, how long does it take to load? And they're like, if you're really good, probably 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, cool.
I get one shot.
Yep, great.
But the I was going to say the other thing that going back to Chris's talking about modern armor in infantry, so combined arms really. So we're talking about the idea. Okay, so if infantry in the Napoleonic period could form square, and that would keep that sort of bristling hedgehog of bayonets would keep the cavalry units at bay.
Yeah.
While they're in square, they can't really move anywhere. It's very difficult for them to move anywhere. They didn't train a lot of time to move anywhere in a square. But if you've got cannons, if you've got artillery nearby,
Oh yeah, that's how you do it.
To start tearing up the square. So yeah, force them into square, take them apart with the cannons. If they
Yeah, it's all bad.
break up to avoid the cannons, tear through them with the cavalry.
Yeah.
So
JB was talking about how he thought it was weird that the Romans never kind of grokked onto the idea of stirrups as much cav as they had, and they did, but they used their cav like to Dave's point to like harass and scare people and to carry messengers. Their main unit was the Legion.
Yep.
And the cool thing about the Legion is like I did tons of research on Roman stuff when I was in school, and I love the whole background. But the cool thing about them was no matter how small you broke it up, the basic mechanics worked the same. So you could take a Legion, and the Legion basically was broken up into different units. You could take a Century, which is 100 guys, and you could run them the same way. And then a Maniple was usually about 20 guys. But how it would work is, to your point, they had multiple formations and they trained in all of them. So you could do line, double line. They would do the block formation. And the cool thing about the block formation is, to your point, if you charge them with cavalry and harassed them, the Centurion would just blow the signal for testudo, and all the guys in the middle would put their shields over their heads, and all the guys in the end would put their shields out on either side and in the front and the back, and then you basically couldn't do anything to them. Like they were a big walking square of metal. It's crazy. It's super nuts to me. I do like the fact that the Romans did all this like crazy research on like how to optimize it.
Right.
So, like if we were fighting on the front line, you'd be like, okay, cool. So I have a Century. So I have basically, depending on how deep we were, 5 or 10 rows of 10 men.
Right.
So the guys in the front are fighting, and the guys in the back have their shields up against them, so they can't get knocked backwards. And then when they get tired, the Centurion or the Optio blows their whistle, and then this guy steps to his left, this guy steps up beside him, and then this guy walks to the back of the line. So you just rotate, so the guy at the front is always fresh. I was like, the fact that somebody sat down and was like, what if we did this?
Yeah.
They like dominated all of Europe for like hundreds of years. You're like, wait, what? Like, no, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
But they use the cavalry for, like you said, messaging and skirmishing and kind of harassing like rear lines. And their big thing was they would use their cavalry to take out like supply lines,
right,
or hit their back end, hit their kind of like their home base, their like supplies, things like that. Get kind of behind things.
Yep. Cool. So I think we've got most so pretty much working the way through. So post Napoleonic era.
Yep.
Really, the bulk of cavalry moves back to that that skirmishing, that mounted infantry kind of approach, light cavalry mounted infantry approach. I think my favorite mounted infantry would be the bicycle corps. Bicycle corps that were used in World War One.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Cheaper than horses.
It is much cheaper, and yeah, you don't have to feed them at all.
Yeah. It is cheaper all around.
But yep.
And then Cav, like over time, Cav turns into like armored fighting vehicles essentially. And I mean, and Scott, I think Scott had said earlier, like air Cav, like that's a huge thing.
Yep. Well, is that air cav or is that air mounted infantry?
So there's both. So I know that I think the army has an armored air corps that is it's basically like it's a mix of gunships and troop carriers.
Right.
So the gunships are fighting airborne.
Right.
But the idea is that the steed is the helicopter.
Right.
So if you're fighting from the helicopter, which the helicopter itself is armed, I guess technically that's still cav.
Sure. Yep. No, that's good. I think there's a great photo coming up from Chris Riley about that gives helps his definition between cavalry and vehicle. So
okay,
but we'll get to that, I think. But yeah, no, I can see what you're saying there about the air cav.
Yeah,
sure, and would have to agree given our definition.
And then stuff like the Bradley fighting vehicle and stuff like that. Like that's a cool sort of bridge vehicle because it does both.
Sure.
Like it can carry troops into and out of combat, but the Bradley itself is also armed. So like it can fight. So technically it's Cav.
Right.
And then it can pull guys in.
We will have to look at it though. Yeah, Black Hawks with 8 to 10 troops and attack helos for support. Indeed. But let's then... So given all of that framework, talking about starting with light cavalry, recon, harassing troops, through heavy cav chariots making their appearance in there, and then going back and forth between heavy and light. Because I think there are times where heavy cavalry was important, and then it wasn't important, then it was important again, then it wasn't important, then it was important again. Let's have a look at some cavalry options that folks have sent in, and talk about where they would fit, and if we think they're used, they're depicted well in wargaming, I guess.
I like the Dwarven Cav, though, for the record.
Yep. The helicopters are armed and also play music, typically Wagner. When they come out low of the rising sun, scares the hell out of what I can say. Excellent. And Chris says the Bradley is a perfect example of armor supported by infantry.
Yep.
So first up, we have these goats, amazing mountain goats from the Middle Earth strategy battle game, the Iron.
I would say they're heavy Cav. They're heavy Cav.
Yeah, they're definitely designed for that. You've got the spears, you've got the butting heads of the cavalry. They're in there to make physical contact with the enemy, and that's what they excel at. But all that armor on there as well, definitely good. Next up,
they're missing. The only thing missing off those goats is the I forget the French word for it. I know the chamfron is the head cover they have, but there's like it's basically like their chest piece.
Okay.
Because you don't want someone with a spear to put a spear through the horse's chest.
Right.
So if those are the goat, those goats would be amazing. It's literally a tank. That thing is just going to smash into people.
Yep. I'm so glad that you said that you were talking about a piece of armor. I thought you were going to say dingleberries.
No, there's a specific French word for that piece. Oh, that's going to drive me nuts now. I got to look it up.
Fantastic. Okay, next image is... originally those goat riders were ones that I painted for a commission. But next up we have...
Guys are great.
Pardon?
Those guys are great.
These ones? The Baron Guard?
Yeah, the Vanguard are gross. I love them.
They are incredibly gross. They're very definitely the heaviest of heavy cavalry for Age of Sigmar. But, yes. Oh, we got... sorry, just quickly jumping in the chat. Dave Hummel says, I wish I'd finished my converted Palador Wolf Cavalry for this. That would have been awesome. When you do, make sure you pop them in the group, though, Dave.
Patrel is the word I'm looking for.
Pardon?
The Patrel.
Patrel. Michael Scott has joined us with a little rendition of Yakety Yak.
Sweet.
I think riffing on the goats. Scott says, don't think I had any mounted miniatures, but remembered too late. These awesome Necromunda Ashwaste Bug Riders. They are cool minis.
Those models are awesome.
Yep. But I think that
they are probably skirmishers.
Yeah, they'd fit in the light cav version for sure. And Josh says Grenadier used to make some nice Dwarven Ram Riders. London Copplestone. Cool. So the Varangard, the ultimate of heavy cavalry in Age of Sigmar. Do you think... how do you feel about cavalry in Age of Sigmar?
So I love it. I think Cav for me has always been one of those things that I just like the idea of it.
Yep.
There's just something super cool about, knights on horseback, and like I just love it. I almost grabbed the Vanguard and painted them. The only thing I don't like about and they're perfect for what they are.
Yep.
But I couldn't use them because the only thing I don't like about them is they're not riding horses. I mean they are, but they're like all chaos and mutated, and Like they have like feet and toes and like weird heads, and I wanted them to just be like giant steeds,
Just big steeds, big horses.
like not weird like mutated Slanesh, horse things. I was like, I'm like, oh man.
No, that's true. They are kind of weird, but I do love them. I think they're really nice.
Yeah, they're like for what they are, they're amazing. Like they are super chaosy. Like I said, for me, I was trying to not use them as Vanguard. I wanted to use them as just like big cavalry, and I was like, I can't really do that.
Right. Yeah, I think the biggest problem I have with it, and it's not about how they used. It might be about how they used in Age of Sigmar, but as we discussed before, I love hordes. I'm a big lots of infantry guy.
Yeah, you definitely cannot do that. You and I are very different. I am a elite. I want to paint fewer models, not more.
I always want to paint more, but so fielding these three at 300 points, where it's like I could have 20 Chaos Warriors for this.
You can have 20 Chaos Warriors. You can field like 50 Beastmen.
Right.
Like what I mean? Like if you want to go horde, like there's ways to do it. This is not how you do it.
No, exactly. So I haven't actually used them in the game yet. I'm hoping to at some point. But
Is there still that list? I think there's a list that's like, I think it's 13 models.
Right. Yeah.
So you run Archeon on Dorgar,
Yep.
who we showed last week. You run him, and then you run 4 units of Vanguard.
Right. Yep.
I was like, that's insane. That list is disgusting. But it's basically 4 units of 3 Vanguard and then Archeon. Like that's the whole army.
Yep. It's ridiculous. I would not be able to do it. My brain would break.
Dave's like, I want to run 400 Beastmen.
Maybe. But anyway, moving right along.
Definitely heavy cav.
Pardon?
They are definitely heavy cav.
Yeah. So we have another heavy cav model here from Josh. Just painted this up. I think. Josh, did you say this was from Thunderbolt Mountain? I think I might have said that. But Josh is still in the chat. You'll be able to let us know. Who can let us know? But yeah, the idea here of the barding on the horse, the cloth barding, to show off the what's the word I'm looking for? The heraldry, the colors of the knight.
Yeah.
Was a very interesting thing. Oh, there we go. Yep, Thunderbolt Mountain, or Thunderbolt miniatures, mountain miniatures. But yeah. Oh. No need for edgy political talk. There's going to be enough of that after the show. But yes. No, I love the idea as well that during the I guess early Middle Ages, when you've got those wealthy landowners out riding around, the head of their forces, that they started to create the system of heraldry and wear their particular colors, so that rather than, once they were knocked off their horses into the mud, rather than being killed, people would go, oh, this is so-and-so. He's really wealthy. We can ransom him.
Yep.
And we can make money rather than just killing the dude. So, yeah, I just love the idea that that's where heraldry came from. And if we look at the I voted sticker, I've got some heraldry on there.
It was also so that you could see who was there.
Sure.
And your guys knew where you were.
Yeah.
It was equivalent of like, officers in the British Army where they wore like the extra big hats and like the. It's like, oh, he's in charge. That guy. Where's the boss? It's that guy.
You're looking for the guy with the biggest hat.
Yeah.
The most feathers. The flashiest heraldry.
Did anybody send you in a Green Knight?
No.
Oh, he's my favorite. He is my favorite.
Yeah, he's definitely good. But no, this guy looks very cool, Josh, and thank you for sending that in.
Yeah, I like him.
Next up, speaking of chaos, I think these are Chaos Knights. Some of the new ones. This is a photo that you sent me. Looks like a work in progress. For some...
Oh yeah. So these are for my Vampire Counts army.
Okay.
So I wanted to use what are they, the
Are they the Chaos Knights or the Blood Knights? Are these Blood Knight models?
Blood Knights? I'm using them as Blood Knights.
Right.
And at the time they only had like the resin Blood Knights, and I was like, I don't want to buy just 5 units of the same guys.
Yep.
So I bought the Chaos ones and I filed off all the Chaos symbols, which took forever. Ben was like, why are you doing this? So like all the shields are covered in Chaos stars. I filed them all off and I shaved them up so they look all nicked and dented and damaged.
Right.
They had some of them have Chaos stars on their the chamfrons on the horses, like the head plates. So I shaved off all that. Cleaned off some of the leg plates have them as well. And I wanted to try a new painting technique with these, so I zenithal highlighted them and then just used contrast paints and then went back and dry brushed them. And I was really pleased how well they came out.
Right.
The metal itself, it doesn't really show up in this, but I used it's basically black that I dry brushed with it's not tin bits, rough iron.
Okay.
Which is an inner color. It has a little bit of like brass in it.
Yep.
And then I dry brushed it again with I think bolt gun.
Okay.
So the armor is basically black, but because of the way I wanted it to look like cast iron.
Right.
So it looks really heavy and dense. It doesn't look like, shiny plate mail steel.
Yeah, it's got the texture to it. It's not smooth.
Yeah, but they were super fun to do.
Yeah.
And those kits are ridiculous.
Right.
Those are some of the biggest cavalry model, like the biggest horses I've ever seen in any miniature game. They're like rhinoceros. They're massive horses.
Awesome. I think for my Soul Black Gravelords, I was doing the whole Virkos. Was it Virkos? Bloodline.
Oh yeah.
Yep, with Radikar the Beast.
Yeah, he's a monster.
And so for my Blood Knights, I used Thunderwolves, just the wolves from the Thunderwolf Cavalry, and I mounted those. The little vampires, the young vampires, feral vampires.
Oh yeah.
From Cursed City. I used those riding they're like grabbing hold of the fur of the wolves.
That's awesome. I think the Thunderwolf Cavalry, I think it's some of the coolest ideas out there.
Really?
I just love the concept of like space wolves like riding these giant like dire wolves. Like that's phenomenal.
I think that idea is a bit goofy myself.
Oh, it's super goofy, but I just think is in terms of like ridiculous stuff, I just think it's amazing.
Yeah. Nice. Josh says he has a Green Knight. He's starting on him tonight.
Nice.
And Scott says, wrong! Heraldry was advertising for the knight's lands and business. Like a Lord Wine Guy has good wine. This process would later be adopted and perfected by NASCAR.
Oof.
Excellent. Next up, we have some... we have an undead force. More undead force. What are the... not Doom Knights. Black Knights?
Oh, so this is super old. So...
Yep.
God, this has got to be from... I think this is when I first got my job at Games Workshop. So this is like 2003, 2004.
Okay. Yep.
And I was trying to run vampire counts, and I ran the Bretonnian list in the back, the Kershiel Musalon.
Musalon, yep.
So that's an Archeon, the original Archeon.
Yep.
And I put him onto a regular base, which was a nightmare. And then I filled in the Chaos Star that should be on the horse's flank with green stuff.
Right.
And then I filed it down so the Chaos Star is gone. And then the model itself, I basically replaced. Was it Slayer of Kings? I took Slayer of Kings and shaved it down and filed it so it's actually a sword instead of looking all like barbed and edged.
Like a demon sword. Yep.
Yeah, and then the I didn't give him a shield. I filed off the shield mounting because I was like, he's a Blood Knight. He's not going to use a shield. And then the head is the alternate head from the King of Bretonnia.
Okay.
Because he has the crown and then he has the bucket helm. So that's the bucket helm.
Yep.
And then I used the extra tail from the hippogriff to give him that big plume. I wanted him to look like Lord Soth from Dragonlance.
Okay.
that was the first time I've ever done like an armor treatment. So I sprayed the armor and then I sealed it, and then I went back and used chestnut ink and red ink and washed it over the whole armor to give it that sort of like bloody kind of like sheen to it. And this is back when all the inks were gloss and they didn't really make matte varnish. And then I went back and picked out the edges of his armor with like brass. He was super fun to do. It's one of my favorite models that I own, and I wanted everything to look really dark.
Yep.
And then I converted all of the horsemen because they didn't have knights for that. So I've got some Empire stuff. I've got some Bretonnian stuff.
Yep.
I've got some weird conversions in there too. The second knight in from the right.
Right.
You can't really see him that well, but the horse he's on is the Nurgle champion horse. You know, the one that's like dead.
All right. Yep.
So it's that, and then I swapped out the rider with the it was the Bretonnian thing where they're all carrying the dead knight.
Oh, the reliquary. Yep.
Yeah, so I took the reliquary that's mounted, and I took the reliquary and mounted him on the Nurgle body.
Nice.
So that was fun. It was a cool one to do. One of my favorites is do you remember the Empire champion who has you can see him just over his shoulder there. Yep. He has the helmet under his arm.
Yep.
With the plume. So I took that and I had another one and I filed it down and I used that as a head so it looks like an empty suit of armor riding one of the horses.
Nice. That's cool.
But yeah, this whole army is all converted. Like none of the models you can buy.
Awesome.
But I was like, man, that army was gross. It was 33 Black Knights, a full Black Knight command.
Yep.
The Blood Dragon Lord mounted on Nightmare, which is what he counts as.
Yep.
And then 2 Banshees. That's the whole army. It is gross.
Shaking my head.
It was so fun to run.
Excellent. Okay, next up. Chris Riley posted this in the group. So he hasn't been able to make the last few Tuesday nights because I think his kids are doing hockey on Tuesdays, and he is learning to drive a Zamboni.
Good for you, man. That is awesome. I had to make a sacrifice to do this show with Dave. So I used to play in a really good hockey league, and it's every Tuesday night.
Oh.
And I don't do it anymore because we do the show.
Oh.
Dude, it's all good. I'm signing up for a winter league down here. That's a different night,
okay.
but driving the Zamboni is awesome.
Yep. He said I asked him if it was cavalry or a vehicle, and he said it doesn't have cup holders, so it's cavalry.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I guess he's attacking the ice from Zamboni back.
Yeah, I mean you're doing it from the mounted position, so technically, all you gotta do is give him a t-shirt cannon, and that's cavalry.
Oh, sure. There we go.
You know what should be on the front of that Zamboni? An ad for Bill Paint Play. That would be way cool.
Yeah. Yep, that would be great. Okay, and I think this is the last one that you sent us. It's the Goblin Knight on Rhino.
Oh, the Moonstone model.
Yep.
Yeah, it was really fun. I painted this for my wife. So I painted this pug to look like Rhino. So Rhino has kind of like gray hair on her chin.
Right. And
she's got some gray on her paws.
Yep.
So that was really fun to do. The Goblin was super easy to paint up. Painted him up super quick. He's kind of ridiculous. The Bevoir comes down on his mask, or the visor rather, and like you can see his teeth still. I was like,
yeah,
this is not doing a lot for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing the eyes was great. I actually did her eyes the right way, so they're white with a brown circle with a black circle, and then I painted 2 little white dots so you get the reflection.
Yep.
Super fun mini, very very small. I mean the pug is maybe the size of like a squig.
Right. Yep.
But
I think it looks
and
fantastic.
I love snow bases, so
it's really cool. And oh no, there was one more that you sent. So it's the it's a piece that's I think converted for a Adeptus Mechanicus.
Oh, that's so our buddy Patrick Dillon painted this.
Okay.
And he converted it. Great conversion. So it's I think that's the legs from the Iron Strider.
Yep. Yep.
And then he put some body. Yeah, it's the Carnosaur body. And then I don't know what he made the top out of.
Well, the top's the top part of the Iron Strider.
Oh, okay, all right. And then that he converted the rider to look like a Talarn guy because it's for his Talarn army.
Yep.
Um,
What does he use in his army? Does it?
I think he uses it as a sentinel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would work.
I mean, I don't know what he's going to use it now with the new guard codex coming. I have no idea what it would be, but I think he uses it as a sentinel.
Okay. But yeah, it is a crazy conversion. Really nicely done. Excellent. And I love that because the underside is lighter, the belly.
Yep.
But it goes out onto the arms as well, the underside of the claws of the Carnosaur there.
Yeah, the Carnosaur is such a cool kit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always been a great kit.
But yeah, it does look very cool.
He did a clever job, like covering up some of the mounties he had to change, like the behind the thing. He has all this like camo netting that's all tied up.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And it wraps around to the other side, and then he has like canteens and stuff.
Nice. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, camo netting, like desert camo netting, and a good water supply is something you definitely want to have.
Yes, seriously. Yeah, but that's Pat Dillon did that.
Cool.
It's definitely a cool kit. He did a good job.
Excellent work there, Pat. Looks great. And the next up, we've got a couple of submissions from Bing. I don't think Bing has actually painted these himself, but we were talking about the Drowned Earth a couple of weeks ago.
Sweet Mantis.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, lovely praying mantis with it's almost the Hero Quest Barbarian on the back.
Very much so. I like that he has like a machine pistol and a sword.
Yep. Well, that's the Drowned Earth for you. It's all over the place. It's lots of stuff going on. But no, it does look cool. But so he's got a saddle. The saddle is attached to the mantis, and he probably fights from mantis back. So cavalry.
Yeah, definitely cavalry. Definitely looks like he fights from the mounted position.
Yeah.
I love the greens on that. That's awesome.
Yeah, they do look really good, don't they? Very nice. And the other one that's being sent through was this wonderful piece from Bushido. It's the monk on turtleback.
Oh yeah. That's a great model. I'd be willing to bet that monk probably doesn't do a lot of fighting.
I would also guess that, yeah.
So I feel like this is more transportation, but I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Do you think maybe he encourages his animal companions to go and do the fighting?
True, but then they're not fighting from the mounted position, so they're more like infantry. They're mounted infantry.
What if he was to throw that chameleon at somebody, and the chameleon like tore the target's eyes out?
I guess we could give it to him.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's fine.
Yep. But it is neat.
This is definitely not a cavalry charge I would be afraid of.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd have plenty of time to move out of the way.
You would. Yep. Well, that staff that he has is quite long, so you've got to take a couple of steps back.
True.
But
that is a great mini, though.
It is cool. Nice work, Bushido, and thanks for that, Bing. Very cool. Next up, we have Ben Williams couldn't decide on what his favorite cavalry model was.
Okay.
But basically decided that anytime he's got a goblin that wants to ride something.
Nice.
So he brought us all of his goblins that are riding things.
Those are great. So he's got a couple grots.
Yep.
Or a couple of squigs.
A couple of squigs being ridden by grots.
He's got a bat being ridden by a grot, a boar being ridden by a grot,
Is that
a cheetah?
No,
it's a rabbit.
It's like a rabbit, yeah, a rabbit with a but he's put a almost like a tiger stripes on it.
Oh, that's the boar. The The boar has striker strips, and then the rabbit has like leopard spots.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's the guys on the chickens and the roosters. That's amazing.
Yep.
And then what's the guy? Oh, that's another squig.
Yep. And then
then
leading them all from the front is the pug.
It's amazing. And he did a traditional pug paint.
Yep.
He did the fawn with the black face.
Yep. Looks great. Oh, just quickly, Scott says, nice stuff, guys. Got to bounce. Movie night with the kids. We're watching Raid Redemption. They've never seen it, which may have contributed to their general softness.
Wow.
Nice, Scott.
Take it easy, Scott.
Yep. And
those are great. Those are awesome.
Say cool pick of the gang. Yep. But yeah, once again, Ben, beautiful work. Love the variety in there. But yeah, I think the Chicken Riders are my favorite.
So what's the guy on the top left? Is he like riding a treant?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
You can't really see that
To
one.
go and zoom in.
Pretty cool though. I mean, they look awesome.
Yep, they do. They did a great job there. Very nice. Okay, we're coming towards the end of the minis. This one's from Chris Gorka. So hopefully you're still with us, Chris, in the chat. So we've got the swoop bikes from Star Wars Legion.
Yeah, the swoop bikes are pretty cool. I really dig them.
Yep. But again, Chris has done some nice stuff here. Chris, the material on the basing, is that some of the epic basing stuff, some of the 3D printed bits and pieces? Because you've got little
there's like cactus and some standing stones.
Standing stones and the cactus, and yeah, they look very cool.
Yeah, they look great. I like that.
Just says that base work is worth the price of admission. It is indeed. But yeah.
Yeah, Chris is no slouch. He does not cut corners, which I appreciate.
Yeah. No, definitely they look very cool. So these would be your light cav, harassing cav.
Yeah, definitely. They are definitely not heavy cav.
Yeah. Yeah. Where would Squig Riders fall? Like Squig Hoppers?
I think by default they would be light cav.
Right.
Because the Squigs themselves aren't armored.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're going to hit you with lances.
True, but they're going to hit you with like a mouthful of teeth.
The Squigs, sure.
Squigs will, yeah.
But like the cavalry is the rider and the beast.
And
so
beast, right. Okay.
I would probably consider that. Again, the Squig makes up for the rider, but I would probably say that they're light cav. Unless you put the big ones. The two big ones are heavy
like
cav.
the Mangler Squigs.
Yeah, they are heavy cav.
Yeah, without doubt. Chris says, yeah, it's from Epic Basing. So very cool.
Yeah, they look great. The little cactuses are super cool.
Yep. Skirmish cav. Yep. Definitely the light harassing element. Very cool. Nice stuff. Okay. And then we've got two more units from me. From my Jenswick 33rd rifles. So the first one we have is the unit of Rough Riders that are all armed with las guns.
Dude, this army's amazing.
So these guys use the old Bretonian knight horses. You got all that barding there. I've given them all the horses have got gas masks.
Yeah,
just some green stuff work around there. I think the canisters essentially that I put in the front there are from. Pardon?
The filters.
The filters. I think are like from the smoke launchers.
Okay.
From
like
Lima Ross tanks. So you've got the three-pronged smoke launcher, and there was one iteration where they had the rather than just being a tube, they had the smoke canister was in there.
Canisters.
Yep. So I'm pretty sure I used those.
I like you gave them all like goggles. All the horses have goggles.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's one of the things, like, if you're going to be protecting their breathing from, like, gas attack or something like that, and then leaving their eyes exposed, not so good. Not so good.
These are very, like, pre-deathcore.
Yeah, I think they're about the same. I think I did them about the same time. So,
I think so. The deathcore didn't even. I mean, in the rules they existed, but there was no minis for them.
oh no, I think oh, yeah, I can't remember when the Forge World minis came out.
Definitely after this, I remember. You again, like I tell you all the time, you're like the dev team for Games Workshop. Like, somebody was like, "Oh, we should make." Did you see Dave's guys? We should probably make those.
Yep. No, I think these models I did in when was it? 2004, beginning of 2004. I made
Yep,
these.
there you go.
So
The Deathcore didn't come out until 2007, so
right. Oh well.
as usual, Dave didn't even get a cut of the action. They just went.
I'm fine with that. It's all good. But yeah, a lot of Bretonian parts went into the making of these.
Yeah, those plastic Brazilian horse kits were so good.
Yep.
Like, to this day, I think they're some of the best. I think they're some of the best Cav models that I've ever seen anywhere.
Yeah. Well, in games I use these as like this particular unit as like a distraction force. So I'd run around the side and try and draw fire from the main force. Pull it away. In this unit there are 2 flamers. So I've got 2 guys and the flamers have like an extra long barrel. So they
I see the guy the second all the way to the right, second guy down.
Yep. Yeah.
You have to bust these guys out and dust them off when that new guard codex comes out. The new rules for Rough Riders look disgusting.
Yeah, you've seen them? I haven't.
They look.
I haven't seen them yet.
Okay.
I'll have to do that then. But just as gotta make like a squeak and bounce. Don't forget to build, paint, and play. Thanks, Josh. Look after yourself.
Josh.
Good to see you. And then the final one is the image that we had up the front, which is the lance armed version of the squad.
Oh, okay, nice.
So
you read 2 units of Rough Riders?
Yeah. Yep. So sergeants with power swords, and then 1 unit with lances, and 1 unit with las guns.
Yeah, they're
because I thought that looked cool.
Dave, you did a great job. They look awesome.
Yeah. But I think my favorite guy is the one using the Friar Tuck head.
Yeah, I was gonna say they got the tonsure.
Yeah, you can see him in the back there, just like the big jowls and chin, sort of being pushed up by his armor plating around it. But yeah, they were definitely a lot of fun to do, and yeah, I'm gonna be interesting to see what the rules are like, and then see how best to use them. Because I think in the Imperial Guard Army, those and the Ogrins or Bulgarins are really the only assault units you have, and they're going to be best used as a counter assault.
Yeah, they'll be really good now. Like the new rules for Rough Riders, like every time you charge, you can pick one of 2 profiles.
Okay.
And the idea is that the lances they have 2 settings.
Oh, okay. Ready up.
So that'll be a lot better. And there's no more you used them once, because the old rules were they're like hunting lances.
Yep.
They explode after you charge with them once.
Right. Yep.
So then after that, you couldn't use them anymore. They got rid of that. Like now, the idea is that they have replaceable lance tips.
Right.
So
one of them is a frag tip, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like
frag tip. There's a melta tip, and there's like a regular tip.
Yep. I think there was a Tabletop Inquirer about the frag the horse being a little bit wary about the frag tip.
Probably not super stoked.
No. As you're charging in, and you got the lances over your head, and it's like the frag grenade is right there.
So I like to think that it's more like a shaped charge.
Okay, so it just pushes forward.
Yeah, so it only explodes. So as long as you keep the lance pointed that way, it only explodes away from the lance.
Right. Okay.
Because that wouldn't make any sense. Like otherwise, you'd obliterate your horse when you used it.
Yep. You need to have those goggles and that armor on the head to protect it.
So I like to think that it's a shaped charge.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. One thing I will say is, so as well as the new plastics coming out from GW, I think Victoria Miniatures is going to be doing a Kickstarter soon for her Rough Rider models. New set of Rough Rider models that she's been working on. And they promise to be a very sweet.
I'd probably just do head swaps.
Yeah.
Like I don't like the classic was it Attilan Rough Riders with
Right.
the fur caps. Like I'll probably just do either I think out of all the guard, I think my favorite heads are either the Casterkin heads.
Right.
Casterkin helmets, they look really cool.
Yep.
And I like the just the Steel Legion.
Right.
Like,
Steel Legion or Death Corps?
Steel Legion.
Okay, radio.
So I'll probably just do head swaps, but
okay, cool.
But the new ones look great. They look super cool. They have that heavy, like we talked about. They have that heavy front end barding.
Yeah.
So that if you're using explosive shells, like the horse can't.
It'll protect them. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. But as Dave Hummel says, yeah, it's the guard. They don't care.
That's true. Again, the guard don't, but I feel like the horses would.
Yeah. You're gonna Rattling Cook's rolls in behind after a cavalry charge.
Nice.
But no, very cool. All right, that is that one there. Is the last of the images that we have.
I'm kind of surprised nobody sent in any other than you. Like nobody sent in any 40K stuff. I thought for sure we'd get like units of bikes and like orcs and stuff and
Yeah. I don't know. But
there you go. There's some cavalry for you.
Yep.
Man, those guys are scary.
This one's finished. This was the sample sent by my client. So
Yeah, the black and the brown and stuff.
Yep. It looks very cool.
Yeah, they look good. They are terrifying, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure. And again, there'd be a unit I have no idea how to use.
Oh my god!
I would be worried to send them into combat because there's only like 3 of them in there.
They will kill everything. They're like 3 of them is like a 10-man unit of assault marines.
Right. Yep. I couldn't handle it.
They're terrifying.
Cool.
A kid at my store just converted. He bought a box of them. What are they? They're the Virtus Praetors. He bought a box of them and converted one to make what's his name? Who's the Dark Angels character that's on the bike?
Right.
It's not Azrael. It's Samael.
Somehow. Yep.
So he converted a Samael using that because he wanted an all plastic one. He didn't want to use the resin.
Yep.
So he converted one using one of the Virtus Praetor jet bikes, and I was like, oh my god, the thing is just terrifying.
Yeah. No doubt. It looks super cool. Chris says, "Hey, I did Star Wars Legion."
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So we got so that was the only other than your converted Genswick, which are
Fantasy
basically
Knights. My converted Fantasy Knights.
Yeah. So we did get some sci-fi ones. I meant more like we didn't get any 40K ones. I was surprised we didn't get any again like orc motorcycle dudes or I think some of the coolest ones are out there right now are the Adelan Jackals.
Right. Yep.
Like those are some really cool models.
They are great, but they're kind of
they're more they're all mounted infantry-ish. Well, I mean
they're light cavalry mounted.
Yeah, they're skirmishers.
Yeah.
You
you don't really want them to touch the enemy. You want to ride up alongside them and shoot them.
Or like what would be a great one is like the new Khorne. You're gonna get the new Khorne Berserker champion on like the Juggernaut.
Oh, all right, yeah.
That's some heavy cavalry right there.
Heavy cavalry, yeah, for sure. That'd be the way to go. Oh, Dave was prepping for his upcoming training trip, so he didn't post. Maybe next week. Next week we're gonna be talking about camouflage.
Yeah.
Yeah, which should be fun. So post photos in the Facebook group of your camouflage models.
Hell yeah.
Do that, please. That'd be good.
Yeah, I got a couple good ones. I'm gonna teach everybody the easiest way to do camo.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two ways that I've done it, and it's worked out awesome both ways, and it is super super fast.
Okay. Cool.
Really really easy to do.
I look forward to that. Nice. I think I've had some different bits of camo. I've got I actually have some bolt action tanks painted in camo, so I might pull those out. The French camo is always really interesting, I find.
All the dots, right?
No, it's French. French early war French camo from World War II was it's big panels of color, but thick black line between each of them.
Oh, right.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting.
My favorite camo is probably the camo used by the British Navy. The
dazzle camo.
That's hilarious to me.
Yeah. Well, we can use that as an example as well and talk about. We'll talk about what camo is supposed to do. And
there's a kid in my store who wanted to use dazzle camo on his guard tanks,
right.
And I was like, you should 100% do it. That's amazing.
Yep. But we'll talk about why it's tough to translate it to miniature soldiers that you want to look good on the table.
Yeah, it's really hard. I think some of the best camo I've seen in terms of like paint jobs over the years is when they did the original Kasserkin the first time, the metal ones.
Yep.
Remember when they put them out in White Dwarf, they had the 3-color camo on them.
Yep.
They look great because it's very much like a less is more.
Right. Yep.
They did a couple of random like tiger stripes on them to like break up their silhouette, and I was like, oh, that looks awesome. But if you tried to actually go in and do like camo, or they'd be a mess. They would just be like a pile of green dots.
Yep, for sure. But no, I think it should be good. Camo. Marines don't wear camo. Well, at least mine don't. That's true. Yep. Yeah, the dazzle. That's pattern, the zigzag camo pattern. But yeah, so we'll talk a bit about that and show some minis, which we cool.
Hang on.
We'll hopefully show a couple of photos from the miniature show at Monte San Savino.
I will leave that up to you. You can keep an eye out and
I'll track those down for sure.
see if you said some people who are going to be there, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So
I'll get a few sort of from the front lines
there you go.
kind of photos.
Yo, hook a brother up. Send us some photos.
Yep. Be all good. I'll be able to do that just fine. But yeah, so we've got that. So that's basically going to be a wrap on episode 17.
Yeah.
We've got episode 18, 19, 20 coming up. I'm taking a break.
Yeah.
Have a holiday special. Maybe we'll get drunk for that one.
Maybe we get drunk on the show.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm not sure if YouTube's going to be fine with it, but screw them.
Well, I mean, it's just,
Oh yeah, just pretend.
I'll be like, what are you talking about? I was just drinking out my Gen Con glass. There's nothing untoward happening. Yeah, everything's fine. I'll even make sure it's seasonal. It'll be like, spiked cider or something.
Fantastic. Mulled wine.
Yeah, there you go.
Excellent.
Some strong eggnog.
We'll do that. That would be just fine.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us again. Another fun show talking about random minis and all kinds of stuff. So we'll do. Oh, we can't do the. We could do the Thanksgiving show. I think Dave and I were more thinking the holiday special.
Yeah. So we've got Thanksgiving on the 2 weeks from today. So whatever that is.
The 15th is camo.
Yep.
The 22nd is Thanksgiving.
Okay.
The 29th, I guess we'll just do like our finale show. We'll come up with something cool in the next week or two.
Yep.
And then we'll come up with a topic for the holiday show as well.
Holiday show. Sure. That sounds like a plan.
All right. Lost my sticker.
You still got it there. Fantastic.
All right. Well, it's always a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much. Dave, you want to give me your pitch? Don't forget to, do all your stuff.
Oh, yeah, don't forget to do all the things. So like, subscribe, comment. So not just comment in the chat, but once the video is live, the replay video live, however that works. Anyway, put a comment in there. That would be fantastic. Super helpful, and it continues to help us grow. Not sure if we're growing, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we're trying.
Look at plans for next year. We're always so busy. So busy.
It's true. I have like zero free time. I'm not complaining. Like, I love what I do. I love my job. Like, I'm. It's not like I'm stuck doing stuff I don't want to do.
Yeah.
It's just I have too much of it to do.
Too much of the good stuff.
Yeah, and I always feel. My main thing is I never want to feel like I'm letting somebody down.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to like pack stuff in to get it done, and then I'm like, oh man, I don't even like. Ben gives me crap all the time because he'll be like, oh dude, like when are you gonna finish your army? And I'm like, with what time? Like I don't have any time to work on my stuff.
Yeah.
But
nice.
I have like 18 armies in various states of completeness.
Right. That's good.
But
we get there one
I think my New Year's resolution this year is going to be to finish at least 2 armies.
Oh, nice. That'd be good.
So
Should definitely do that. Cool.
Oh.
Okay. Is this where I say something?
Yeah, I mean, so you let me know when you're good to go.
I'm good to go.
Okay.
We're good to go.
So as always, make sure you guys
build, paint, play.
Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.